Now, in just a moment, I'm going to bring you an interview with LNP Senator for Queensland, Senator Gerard Rennick, who's going to cause some trouble for his own side, his own government in Canberra next week. Because if he's to be believed, he's not going to vote with them. The reason is that in Brisbane last night, a group of politically minded citizens met together. They're independent. They're not funded by nor aligned with any political party or movement. They're educating themselves, they say, and others on the political happenings of the day. They call themselves Voting Matters. Jules Burbidge is the founder, and I spoke with Ms Burbidge earlier on today to find out how her citizens or grassroots group Voting Matters, how it came to be.
It started because I had a political epiphany, if you like, some years ago. I was just hugging my baby grandson, and there were some dreadful things happening in the world. And I just thought, what is the world going to be like for you, my darling? I'm going to drop off the perch one day, and what am I leaving you? So I thought, I've really got to get involved in politics because these people are making decisions for everybody, and they're getting it wrong. So I decided to just get involved in politics and examine everything. And then I started running meetings of like-minded people, and it's just grown from there. It's been 5.5 years, and I'm still doing it.
So are you associated with any particular party or movement?
No,
okay.
No. It is apolitical. I make my own opinions very clear. Sometimes I will give a party bouquets, and other times I'll give them brickbats. And so we are completely open about everything. And we are not part of any party at all.
So tell me about some of the people that you've invited over the 5-year period. Who have you invited to speak?
Well, last night, for instance, we had Senator Gerard Rennick, who's getting a lot of publicity because of the stance that he is taking.
Yes.
And next week, for instance, I have Professor Ian Plimer. He has a new book coming out, so there's a book launch for that. I get a lot of policy experts in any kind of field. It could be education or transport or international trade or whatever policy areas. And so people get the real truth from people who know what they're talking about. And so when a politician talks about something, the people who come to my meetings know exactly what is happening with whatever the issue happens to be at the time.
So you invite all political parties, no matter whom, really?
Yes, I do.
Okay.
Yes, indeed.
Has anyone ever declined?
Yes. I've had people accept my invitation to be presenters, and then they talk to somebody and find out that we have had a number of conservative people. So people from the Labor Party or associated with the Labor Party ring me up and say, we're not going to come to your meeting and talk to your people. And I say, well, they are voters, all of them, and they are interested in learning about issues. And they say, no, we're not coming. And they just leave.
Do they say why they're not? Do they say why they're not coming?
They say that we don't talk to people like you people. So they label...
Who is you people?
Yeah, you people are the people who come to my meetings who are just simply interested. See, I've had a number of presenters. Perhaps I haven't taken a tally, but perhaps there are more conservatives than there are people left-leaning. And so they look at details like that and they decline to come. After they have accepted coming, I might add, somebody gets in their ear and says, don't go and talk to them.
My guest is Jules Burbidge. She's the founder and organiser of a community group called Voting Matters. This is ABC Radio Brisbane. So do they know that you're not politically aligned, Jules Burbidge?
Yes, they do know that, but they still label people. I might add, to be fair, every election I hold candidate forums. It's always easier in the federal election because I can have Senate candidates who represent the whole state.
Yep.
Whereas, the state elections, you've got to try and attract people in immediate electorates. Otherwise, people aren't interested in people from other electorates. Anyway, last state election, for instance, the LNP told the candidates not to come to my meeting. So what their problem was, I don't know. I never did find out. But I thought, okay, you can't please them all.
So you've been rejected by everyone nearly.
I have, yeah. It's almost like a badge of honour, really, isn't it? If a politician object to you, well, you must be telling the truth.
And what sort of people turn up to your meetings? Who is coming along? I gather that last night's event had around 350 people, which is quite a good attendance as far as
No, it
I'm
wasn't that
concerned.
many. It was very good. It was maximum capacity at that hotel was 250, but we actually had about 260.
Okay.
So it wasn't 350, no.
Okay, so 260 people. That's quite a good attendance. How is it funded? How do you fund and organise this?
I get venues that cost nothing. They are very kind to us and charge us nothing, because one of my rules, which is absolutely sacrosanct, is I will not charge people to come to these meetings. Because every single person who walks in there, if they're over 18 and they are alive, they can vote. And everyone has a right to hear information, whether they be unemployed, a student, disabled, pensioners, or people with money. I will not have any kind of event that will cost money, because I want everybody to be in a position to come and listen to information about the decisions that politicians make. So the funding is from nowhere. I do ask if people are in a position, can we please have a gold coin donation? And that helps me buy paper for, just for printing out and printing toner. How much printing toner costs. And I have another allied group up in Ipswich, Voting Matters up in Ipswich, and I go up there. I also go to just meeting groups, Sunshine Coast, Gold Coast. So I will go on the tollways, and so I use those gold coin donations to fund that, because I'm a pensioner myself, and I don't want to be constantly putting my hand in my pocket.
My guest is Jewel Burbidge. She's the founder and organiser of a community engagement organisation or political discussion forum. How would you describe it, Jewel Burbidge? How do you describe your forums or your events that you're running? Is it political engagement?
My agenda is political. Most definitely it's political. My agenda is to get people off their lounge chair, into the car, and go and meet regularly. We usually meet once a month, and talk to each other. Instead of receiving their information via the manipulative messages of political parties, and we all know about the media and the narratives of the media, I want people to go and talk to each other, meet each other, exchange ideas, network with each other, and discuss things like people used to do before we had all this technology. Instead of getting things from the TV or some device in front of you, you don't even get it from newspapers anymore. It's always just little snippets that will come on some device. And you're not talking to people. You're not really finding out full information.
Okay.
And I want people to examine the people who stand up and say, vote for me. I want you to ask them, well, what do you stand for?
Who is your next guest speaker at your next event, if you've planned one yet?
Is Professor Ian Plimer from Adelaide. He's got a new book coming out. He has a number of books that he's published through Connor Court Publishers. He really knows about earth sciences. He's a retired professor from Melbourne University, and he's quite well-known, almost world-renowned expert on earth sciences.
Now, I'm intrigued to know, in the lead-up to the federal election campaign next year, will you be holding more of your Voting Matters forums in the early part of the new year, in the lead-up to the federal election campaign here?
Yes, I will. Mm-hmm. I always hold a forum for candidates, particularly Senate candidates, being a federal election. Mm-hmm. And so I invite all of the Senate candidates, or one from each party. I don't have, half a dozen of one party or whatever. And I give them 5 minutes each to explain why we should vote for them. And then we have a forum afterwards. It's always very well received. And I invite everybody. And I invited the Communist Party last time, and I think the time before. And
did they come?
They were really, well, they were very, very excited, because nobody invites them anywhere. And they were really, really pleased. And I said, well, you're very welcome to come along, because we are if you've got something to say, well, come and tell us. Show us what you've got. And so, we will. But, of course, they didn't turn up, unfortunately. And there are a few others who were no-shows as well. But I had about 12, I think it was, senators last time. And that's what I do before every election.
Is there anything that you want people to know about you or your group Voting Matters that you want to get on the record, Jewel Burbidge?
Well, there's no point in knowing about me apart from I'm 71 years old. I'm on the downhill run in life and I want to leave this world a better place for my 10 grandchildren. And I do this because I want people to talk to each other and engage in the political process. This is where decisions are made that affect people's lives. And aren't we seeing that at the moment? So you have got to really think seriously about, well, who are you sending there? Are you going to be just a sheeple and just vote the party line or your political tribe, or are you going to examine what do they stand for? What do they do? What's their record like? And the thing that I say consistently is look at the calibre of the character of the candidate. Will this person put the electorate's needs first before their own career path or the dictates of their party? And that's the kind of person that you want to vote for, who will put the electorate first. Because we've had too many career politicians who just simply toe the party line and they really don't care about the consequences. They're more interested in their own career path. We've had enough of that. We want an end to it. We've got to get people who will look after the electorate because, by God, we need it.
Jewel Burbidge, thanks so much for your time.
Thank you very much, Steve.
Jewel Burbidge is the lady who started and runs Voting Matters, and it was at this event last night that LNP Senator for Queensland Gerard Rennick spoke. 260 people turned up to him to hear him speak last night. Now, I've interviewed Senator Rennick, and as you'll hear after the 5:30 news headlines and traffic updates, Senator Rennick says he's going to Canberra Monday of next week, and even though he's a member of the government, a member of the coalition, he will not be voting with government bills or for government bills in the House, in the Senate, unless they change their position on vaccine mandates. So you'll hear that story in about 5-10 minutes' time after the news headlines